Hey guys, welcome to JasonWhiskyWise. Myself, Jason, bringing you whiskey review number 35. We're going to review the Kavalan Solist ex-Bourbon Cask. So this is going to be the first of the Solist range, and this whole week I'm focusing in on Kavalan. So if you missed any of the videos, I'll leave the links over here, here, and here towards the end of the video. But let me pour myself a dram and get started. Now you'll see just over my left shoulder there is an appearance of a barcode, and that is actually from this bottle itself, which states the barcode of the bottle and also the bottle number. And if you're wondering what is all this squiggling as well on this side and the date over here, that's actually the master distiller Ian Chang's signature, including the date in which I met him, which I'll pop just over here, a picture when I got to take a picture with him. I decided to buy the most expensive bottle they had at the tasting event at Milroy's of Soho, and just to make it a very memorable experience. If they had even something like the Solist Port, I'd have picked that up immediately. So just that's my little takeaway from that tasting event. So anyway, let's get into the review itself. So you can see the barcode is over there. Now this barcode actually tells you about the bottle, and it's about when the whiskey was put into the cask. So the B, I'm going to put a breakdown. The B stands for the actual bourbon cask. 10 stands for the year, which is 2010. 9 stands for the month. 24 stands for the date. And then you've got 052, which is actually the cask number, I believe, for the day. So the barrel on the day. And then you've got A at the end, which I'm not too sure about, but I'll leave it in my blog and I might just correct it on the screen via YouTube. And then you've got bottle number 29 out of 189 bottles produced from this batch. And also, I'm going to quickly show you something on the back, which I'll put over there. It's a little screenshot, which you'll probably see over here. It says 2015 0902 and the time, which is 8:59 in the morning, almost 9 o'clock in the morning. And that way we can actually date this bottle. So, and I'll do a whole video on how to read the Solist range in more detail, but that is literally the lump sum version sort of put into a little bite-sized piece for you. So, the age of this whiskey in my review style structure is aged at 5 years and 8 days. The ABV is at 58.6% ABV. It's one of those strong ones, and all the Solists are cask strength, so you're going to get a very rich, really fruity character on them, depending on which one you're getting. Now next up is the casks, and they are ex-Bourbon Cask. And in terms of the distillery, it is the Kavalan distillery over here. It just looks so amazing. Beautiful greenery around it. And it's definitely one of those places I'm looking forward to visiting later in the year. The parent company is known as the King Carl Group, owned by Mr. Lee, who founded the Kavalan distillery. Sadly, I couldn't find a picture of him, but if I do, I'll let you guys know. And in terms of the region and the origin of the distillery, it is actually here in Yilan County, Taiwan. So that's all the way up near Taipei, a little south from Taipei, and you'll find yourself in Yilan County. Now, in terms of the price for this bottle, this one actually cost me £120 from Milroy's of Soho. So you're looking at around about 120 to around about £130 for a single cask, you know, complete natural whiskey, no colouring, and I'm actually going to get to that. So let me not jump the gun too quickly. But in terms of exclusivity, it is exclusive because they are done by batches, by the barcode. So you have got batches which will keep changing over time. And then in terms of caramel colouring, no caramel colour is added. So this here is all natural colour to this whiskey, because the humidity in Taiwan speeds up the maturation, and you don't really need any caramel colouring because you're getting a very rich whiskey. And wait till I do the Solist next. You'll see the colour of that whiskey. You'll be mind blown. So I can't wait to do that. But anyway, let's now move into the assessment for this whiskey itself. So let's first assess by looking at the colour of this whiskey, and it does have a very sort of light golden, sort of like a pale gold, straw gold appearance to it. It is very, very light, and I'm going to put on more or less, say, a straw gold, because it is very light in complexion. So start with a straw gold. Now let's next move into the nose for this whiskey. The nose for this whiskey sort of starts off, and it reminds me of opening a fresh packet of biscuits off the custard creams. If you've never seen how they look, I'll pop one just over there. Very sweet, little vanilla custard creams. Picking out a little sweeter note. It's got lots of sweetness in it. The ex-Bourbon Cask really imparting its flavour in this one. I'm also picking out sort of castor sugar, and it's not melting castor sugar. It's like when you first open it, you get that whiff of the sweet air. that more or less that scent coming out, and then you're also getting what I think reminds me of a Neapolitan ice cream. The sort of chocolate, strawberry, and vanilla, but more vanilla based, and you're just getting that sort of creamy nose. So gorgeous on the nose. I'm gonna have a second nosing and see what other notes I can pick out. So definitely on the second nosing, I'm picking out back again with that sort of sugary, castery, sugary note. But one thing that comes to mind after a little time nosing this whiskey is more towards that, how do I say it, caramelized bananas. Sort of just getting that sort of nice sweet, but at the same time that tropical fruity note of the banana with sweetness aspect. Just so much sweetness in this whiskey, it's incredible. So I'm looking forward to the palate of this whiskey. A lot of sweetness on the nose. So anyway, next move into the palate for this whiskey. So to begin the assessment on the palate for this whiskey, it does start out more with a light, well, medium texture, and then it develops. It becomes a little bit thicker, a little bit more viscous on the palate. Then you find yourself getting the spices, a little bit of a herbally, mentholy note that sort of starts its way out, and then a gingery warmth, and a little bit of that sort of white pepper, giving its bold, sort of spicy note to it. And then right behind that, you get a sweeter, how I describe more towards a red toffee apple, with a sweetness coating that fruity flavor. And right behind that, that sort of peppery note bursts back into action and really wakes you up a little bit. So quite a really intense palate, and something that's definitely, I'm saying, quite interesting compared to the nose of this whiskey, which is quite sweet. The palate's giving you spice and it's giving that fruity aspect. So I'm going to have a second tasting, and I think we're going to move next into the finish for this whiskey. So into the finish. So into the finish for this whiskey, it does have a very, I'd say a long finish. Getting lots of heaps of vanilla. A little bit of an oaky presence, which does dry sort of the right-hand side, I found, of the back of the palate, ever so slightly. But then it becomes very mouth-watering, and it develops a sort of honeycomb sweetness. It sort of just keeps rolling all over the palate. And a little bit of what reminds me of desiccated coconut, giving you that sort of tropical fruity note, but it's a little bit dry. So really, really enjoyable finish on this whiskey. So next, I'm going to give my rating and my overall opinion on the Kavalan Solist ex-Bourbon. And I've already come to my opinion on this whiskey because something that I found really just amazing, and just taking the time. This is one whiskey I would recommend not rushing. I hope you can see that correctly. I'm giving this one a 90 out of 100. Out of many ex-Bourbon Cask whiskies I've tried, I feel this really marries the flavors really well. In terms of the age statement, again, 5 years, but if you times that by maybe 3 to 5 times, you're looking at 15 to even 25 years old in this whiskey. And I definitely think if you're into your bourbon cask styles, or you're into your bourbon finishes, this is definitely something I highly recommend you give a try, especially if you like the high ABV. It does give you a lot of flavor and just a lot to think about in this whiskey. In terms of the price point of view, £120, it's very reasonable considering nowadays almost every 20-year-old whiskey or 21-year-old whiskey is looking at around about £120. So this one could be even 25 years old, and you're looking at a £200 bracket at that point, maybe even higher. And for the quality of whiskey you're getting, cask strength, natural color, non-chill filtered, you're getting something that I feel that is just really, really good. And I really appreciate the way that the master distiller has put this whiskey together. So overall, I'm giving it a 90 out of 100. It's still, I still think there's a little bit of room for improvement for them, but that could be down to other batches, which I'll see if I can get to try for upcoming videos. But on that note, 90 out of 100. Give this one a try if you're into your cask strength whiskies, your non-chill filter, natural color. They're doing some fantastic work at Kavalan. Next up, I believe we're going to review another Solist, so we're going to get into that in just a second. But on that note, if you have enjoyed the video, by all means, please do drop it a like. Be sure to click the subscribe button and check out my latest videos here, and there, which should be the classic Concert Master and also the Podium. But on that note, this has been Jason from WhiskyWise. Hopefully you have enjoyed, and I'll catch you all for the next video.